So I want to talk about the American Akita here for a second. Love this breed. It's my favorite breed I've ever had. This is my dog Kenjo. He is a 4-year-old, 115-pound American Akita male. He's just an amazing dog. Very loyal, very loving towards me, bonded to me particularly above everybody else. Doesn't really care much about other people. He gets a lot of attention, but he kind of ignores. He's very aloof with people. Not mean, but just, in fact, when people say, is he friendly? I say, well, he's not mean. I'm not going to say he's friendly, but I'm not going to say he's mean either. He just doesn't care about you. He cares only about his family, and particularly me, because we bonded together. The American Akita breed is a very independent dog. I'm sure if you're watching this, you already know the history. They are originally a Japanese breed. The line kind of split. The Japanese people still have the Akita Inu, which is kind of a smaller version of this Akita. They bred it back towards more pure lineage from what it was before World War II. Where the American Akita, the one that the American soldiers took a liking to and brought back to the United States and throughout the West, was more of a mixed breed line that came from having other blood from other dogs in there for various purposes like dog fighting and things like that. So that's actually one thing that leads me to one thing I always like to say about the Akita is that their lineage, what they come from, what their working dog lineage is actually pretty intense. There's a lot of dogs that come from a very intense working background, but the Akita has 3 in particular. They were originally bred for hunting large game. So they'd go out in the mountains as a pair. There'd be a male and a female typically, and they go with the humans out into the wilderness up in the mountains, and they'd hunt large game like boar, elk, and bear. Now, obviously, even a big dog like this, Kenjo's 115 pounds. I'm not even sure they were that big in the past. But even a dog like this is going to take down a bear. They didn't have to. They just needed to be fearless enough to confront the bear, not back down from a fight, corner the bear, and kind of circle it and hold it in place until the humans arrived and made the kill themselves. So that was the first very intense lineage that the American Akita came from. Another one part is that they were used as guard dogs, and they weren't just used to guard anyone. They were used to guard Japanese royalty. So if they were trusted to guard royalty in Japan, which is a very serious and traditional culture, then you know that they did their job well. They wouldn't have been selected otherwise. So guarding and hunting, big game. And lastly, later on, and unfortunately, they were used for dogfighting. So they have a lot of dogfighting breeding in their lineage as well. So take those 3 big working dog lineages, hunting large game, guarding their families, and dogfighting. So there's a lot of intensity that comes in the background of the American Akita that needs to be taken seriously. A lot of that dogfighting lineage is still present in them, and as far as their dominance, they're very territorial, they're very dominant towards other dogs, and they're more than happy to get into a fight. So it takes a lot to socialize an American Akita. I got this dog, and it was my first dog that I've owned. Well, actually, I got his sister first, about 6 months before him. But the American Akita was the first dog I owned as an adult on my own. I grew up with a lot of dogs, German Shepherd, Alaskan Malamute, Chow, Golden Retriever, Lab, and so on. But I never actually owned a dog until the American Akita, and I did my research. Even though I didn't have the experience, I did a lot of research, delved a lot into like Cesar Millan and other famous dog trainers, dog behavioralists, to make sure I had a good handle on my dog. And I'm glad that I did. I learned a lot. I'm by no means an expert, but I do know a bit. And it's worked. I've got him to be much more calm, especially than he was early on. I can walk by reactive dogs. He doesn't attack. But if some dogs, it's only particular dogs, but some dogs get a little bit too close, he will go straight into fight mode. And it's usually dogs that are kind of cocky and give strong eye contact, kind of issue their challenge to him. And they see him, a lot of dogs see him, and they immediately respond as well, because he carries himself very proudly. His tail's straight up often with that curl that the Akitas have, but his posture is very upright and ears perked, and he just signals dominance when he walks around. And when other dogs see that kind of behavior from this dog, it kind of triggers a lot of them. Some of them will shy away, and some will see it as a challenge and will issue their own challenge. So it takes a lot to train an Akita to to ignore that and just listen to me and not pay attention to their surroundings like that in that way. It was not easy though. And that is something you need to keep in mind if you do get an Akita, is that it may not even be your dog that's causing a lot of trouble. It could be that there is other dogs that are challenging your dog, and your dog's like, well, I got to respond. So it takes a lot of work. And in particular, the Akita is a very independent breed. They aren't the type of dog that is just wanting to please their master. Now, they love their humans and their family. Whoever their family is, they love them, they'll protect them, especially usually one person in particular they'll bond to. For him, it was me in the family. And so they're very, very loyal. As you probably have seen the movie Hachi or heard the story of Hachiko, you get an idea of the loyalty of this dog. And I certainly believe he would be much like that dog, Hachiko, as well. This dog has to be by my side all the time. So very loyal dog. But despite being very loyal, the American Akita is not a dog that wants to please you. They don't exist to please you. In fact, they're a lot like a cat in that regard. When he's in the house, he really doesn't bother anyone until he wants to be pet. Then he'll come up to you and he'll give you his back and sit down right in front of you, so you'll scratch his back. But he didn't come to give you affection. He came for you to give him affection. So it's just very interesting dog breed in that way. Now, I don't recommend the American Akita. In fact, I encourage people not to get one. And one of the main reasons is because they bond and they're so loyal to one person in particular. And the worst thing to me is when someone can't handle all the perks that come with the Akita, all the drawbacks of their personality and difficulties of their stubbornness, is that people get rid of them and they put them back in shelters and things like that. And to me, you do that with a lab, it's sad, but a lab loves everybody. They get a new owner, or they're going to be happy, just as happy as they were. But in Akita, the way they bond, it's really like you're breaking someone's heart when you do that. So I really do not like people giving up their Akitas because they can't handle them, and they are difficult to handle. So I do not recommend them for that purpose. Now, if you are determined to have an Akita and you want to put in the work, I can't say there's going to be a more rewarding breed out there. It's a very loyal protector, very loving dog towards you, absolutely gorgeous animal who gets attention everywhere you go. So there's just so many perks that come with it. For me, I love dogs that are big, powerful, confident, and that you can respect. When they walk into a room, it's like a presence that walked into the room. It's not like this little Chihuahua just kind of walked in and nobody's paying attention to. It's like when an Akita walks into the room, even if it's you and your family and you live with the dog every day, when they walk in, it's like, boom, there's Kenjo. Here he is. He walked in. Oh, he heard his name. So they're really, really just an impressive dog. And I like impressive dogs. I like dogs that are willful and confident because it makes me respect them more. The fact that they're not so willing to just please everybody all the time. They have a lot of self-respect, and they're not a dog that you can handle with heavy-handed tactics either when you're training them. If you start being abusive towards them, they're not going to put up with that. You're probably going to get bit. So you need to train an Akita with patience, and you need to give them respect, but you also need to demand that respect, and you enforce rules with them to make sure they are respecting you. It should always be your way in the house. They should not be allowed to get away with it. So firm, consistent leadership is required. But again, not a lot of people who do that, but those that can, it's a very rewarding experience to be able to train an American Akita in that way. So I guess this video has gone on a lot longer than I intended, but I just want to give a brief rundown on why I love the American Akita, why I don't recommend them, and just a little bit about their history. So this is Kenjo and me signing off so we can get back to our trip around this pond a few times. Good night.